breaking news. Trump forced to defend immigration stance as U.S. states sue over forced family separation. Donald Trump has been sued over his administration's zero-tolerance illegal immigration policy, which has resulted in at least 2,300 children being forcibly separated from their parents at the southern border. A group of 17 U.S. states and the District of Columbia branded Mr. Trump's crackdown cruel and unlawful in court documents filed today. The lawsuit is seeking to stop the separation of immigrant families entering the United States from Mexico and argues a recent executive order signed by the president to stop the practice does nothing to alleviate the issue. The court filing comes on the same day as Mr. Trump won a major victory in a separate aspect of his immigration policy after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled his travel ban, dubbed a Muslim ban by critics, is lawful and can continue. Mr. Trump's zero-tolerance policy means adults who illegally cross into the United States will face prosecution. The White House has insisted the tough approach is needed to deter more people from making the trip to the U.S.-Mexico border. While the parents are being processed by the courts, their children have been sent to temporary holding facilities before being housed with family members already in the U.S. or moved on to foster homes. After intense pressure from members of his own party, church figures and world leaders, the president signed an executive order stating that families should now be detained together where possible. But the June 20th order has been branded illusory by the states behind the lawsuit. They also say the administration's policy is unconstitutional, partly because it is motivated by animus and a desire to harm immigrants arriving from Latin America. Announcing the lawsuit, Illinois Democratic Attorney General Lisa Madigan said in a statement, "The new federal executive order does not bring back together the thousands of families that were torn apart by the federal government's policy, and it does not prevent families from being separated in the future." Mr. Trump's hardline immigration policy has divided opinion in the United States after images of immigrant children detained in cages were made public. Distressing audio of crying immigrant children recorded after they had reportedly been separated from their parents was smuggled out of one of the detention facilities and played on news networks across the world. The harrowing 7-minute clip is said to have been taken inside a U.S. Customs and Border Protection detention facility. The president has argued without a tough deterrent, more people will make the journey from South and Central America to the U.S. He has floated the idea of bypassing the lengthy legal process entirely and simply deporting anyone found to have entered the country illegally. But critics, including the American Civil Liberties Union, have labeled his suggestion illegal and unconstitutional. Before signing the executive order last week, Mr. Trump claimed laws passed by Democrats tied his hands and he was unable to do anything about it. But as the row over the zero-tolerance policy continues, the president was buoyed by a major victory in one of his landmark immigration policies today. After an 18-month legal battle, his controversial travel ban targeting citizens from mainly Muslim-majority counties was approved by the Supreme Court. Campaigners had attempted to have the ban overthrown, arguing it discriminated against people because of their religion. But by a margin of 5-4, judges in America's top court ruled the national security reasons used by Mr. Trump's administration were sufficient for the policy to continue as planned.